Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the free, and the home of the brave,
you do in that stage, that's up to you. But I expect Alpha to really put all his cards down on the table and find a way to get track position up in the front. And I guarantee you, if you see that 88 in the lead, he may never give it back.
Yeah, Aviator could get it done. I'd love to stick with somebody who hasn't been able to do it yet. Rick, you've gotten to know a few of these guys as well. They've been in and out of parties. They've been in and out of Discord chats, getting ready for these upcoming weeks. We've seen a lot of great racing, and man, I know it's kind of hard to tell because we've said during the truck and Xfinity race, this race, the way that it all plays out is very much like a game of chess. Who do you have as making that last final checkmate move?
Pete, I'm going to agree with Ward Burton and say the Aviator, but one driver that I'm going to keep my eye on is Alpha York. Alpha just has that special quality, the ability to just pull something extra out when necessary. Keep your eye on that 88 Valvoline Chevrolet. See what he can do making his way through the field. You can't ignore guys like Papa Bear. You can't ignore guys like Rowdy, who are also going to be pushing and shoving their way through the field. But Pete, my prediction is the driver who is smoothest on the high line will end up being your winner today.
That high line, man, Rick. Last night we were both. Well, I don't know about you. You never really vocalized it, but I was very skeptical about about the package that J-Pop brought to Daytona for the Xfinity Series as that series leader or that series admin. But by the end of the night, I was completely sold on it. But man, they're not doing that tonight for whatever reason. Coey didn't want to go with it. I think it would have put a great race on the track. But again, with almost 30 cars out here, we're going to see one hell of a race no matter what it is. Also, with the setups on, the high draft on, I think that's going to kind of activate. We'll just say that high line is going to be on tonight as well. And we've seen what kind of momentum they can build up there. I think they're going to absolutely push that through. I don't think we're going to see just a whole lot of bottom line, bottom feeders, as they say, in public lobbies and whatnot all the time. I don't think we're just going to see a whole bunch of bottom feeders tonight. I think it's going to be all over the track. As for my guy, I was actually going to go with the 88 of Alpha York as well. He's a guy that has been pretty consistent. He's sitting right around middle of the points as well. So I'll go with somebody new rather. I'll actually go with Parzival. Parzival in the Xfinity Series last year finished in the top 4. I called him my silent hunter because when it came time to prove what he had and prove that he could race among the best, he finished in the top 3, almost always ended up in the booth. So I'll call on my buddy Parzival to get it done tonight. They are just about ready to wrap up qualifying. All that is done. We're gonna find out who our pole runners will be here pretty soon. And as always, once they hit the track, we'll go through the field, introduce you to everybody, and get it going. Rick, now another thing. Earlier yesterday, if you subscribe to my channel, I sent out an email. In order to subscribe with either Amazon Prime and whatnot, you've got to submit whatever your email address is. And I sent out an email to everybody that subscribes to my channel. And when I pulled the number, I was knocking on 30. That made me feel so proud. I actually went back through the streams trying to find who I missed. And, man, it was a great feeling. But we're also going to be giving away 7 $10 gift cards tonight. It's going to be between Amazon.com gift cards, NASCAR.com gift cards, and in the beginning of this stream, when Madison Rising, as they do on Thursday nights, they sing the national anthem. I've got a signed Dave Bray USA CD that I'm going to be giving away as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll introduce the winners to that a little bit later on, but they're back in the lobby, getting those last minute instructions to from Coey or from Stout or Boehner or J-Paw, where they gotta signal to go into the pits. Almost 30 cars. You gotta figure there might be a little bit of nerves. Hey, some people make mistakes. Some people forget. So they'll remind them on that. They'll remind them where they can merge back up on track. And no, it's not right at the exit of pit road. They gotta follow it all the way around till they see that broken dotted line, and then they can come up. So getting ready to go, Rick. Any final thoughts or something that you want to get out there before we see these guys out there on track?
Well, I believe Rick may be having an issue, but Pete, the way that we're looking at it right now, before we start this race, is that I'm going to expect it to be immediately side by side. Now, obviously, yes, you're going to start, 2x2 when they hit the green. But you hit on something a few minutes ago that I think really is going to set the tone for tonight. The outside line in particular is going to be set up purely from the inside. So what I mean by that is expect groups of race cars to lift and give gaps to the guys that are driving on the bottom so they can slingshot to the outside as a group and try to pull themselves up. Now, in a typical high draft package, which we're not seeing tonight, you have a very strong ability to side draft. However, in a regular draft package, not as much. So it focuses on the bumping and the runs you can get. Expect, in my opinion, Pete, tonight, a lot of snaking and expect a lot of slicing and dicing off the exits of corners to try to get those positions.
Hey, guys,
comes out.
Somebody said, there we go. Thank you,
Call
Stout.
it.
Sorry about that. I had to step away. Just want to make sure that we weren't going to miss the invite getting loaded in right now. I'll actually go ahead and send you guys the invite as well. Let's see. Rick, here you go, sir. And hopefully, Word, I can find you a little bit easier than normal. Looking for you right now. Nope, you must be offline again. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. Why can't I never find you?
Big shout out to Rock NASCAR in the chat, SWATs, Fusion, Atlanta Racing as well. And he has a special message in the chat for the one and only Word Burton. He says, tell Word I love him. Word, Atlanta loves you.
Indeed, I love you too, Atlanta. And I'll tell you what, it's not a plate race without Atlanta either, when you think about it. Loves those Talladega races, had some great calls.
Here we go, guys. So it looks like it's going to be the 13 of the one and only Lucky Dog. He hasn't quite changed his name to NNR Lucky, and I don't think that's going to happen. With the 42 of the one and only Siege GMX Rose on the outside, we got the 14 of Jay Quinn. Pretty good starting position for him. Then we got the 16 of the Aviator. Wouldn't expect anything less than a front 10 start. Then we got the 95 of Jose 95, 48 the one and only NNR Rowdy. 43 is Sweeter Feed, top 10 start as well. The 9 of Amore Smoke, every time Creed rises to the top. 38, the one and only Fatless Dig. 53 of Mike Honcho. 41 of Dan the Lawn Man. I still miss that 35 black and silver scheme that he ran last year. You got the 16 Fraternal Order of Eagle NNR Trip. 2 car of the one and only Stout Whiskey and that Wild Deuce. 51 of Old Daddy B. 24 of our owner, Coey. We got 21 of Parzival, my pick for tonight. 22 of the ever-popular J-Paw. 18 of Ingalls rocking that Skittles Camry. The 32 of NNR Drake, formerly known as Exclusively Elite. 88 of Alpha. There's Ree of NNR Outlaw as well. 12 car Knights with the 36 of Boehner starting a little bit further in the back. 47 of Augustus. The 6 of Captain, East Spark regular. And we are back up front. Word, you know Lucky a whole lot better than I do. I think he's going to be pretty strong tonight. Not only that, he's got Rose to his outside. I expect these two to get a single file and pull train rather than be pulled around. What do you think, sir?
Indeed, I expect that as they get ready to come to green. Lucky, this is considerably one of his weaker tracks. Not a big fan of the super speedways, but he really knows how to lead the race. Expect him to get real aggressive early on and try to stay in front of the 42, as it looks like we have taken the green flag and the 13 of Lucky Dog out in front for the moment, but also a good start here by the 42 of CGMX Rose.
Absolutely. Rick, I tell you, both of these guys are racing with their Fanatec equipment. They've got the same wheel. They've got the same shifter. The only thing is the 13 does have somebody right on his back bumper where the 17 of the Aviator's all over it, as well as the 48 of Rowdy. So it looks like the high side is getting one hell of a push to start off here, sir.
Rose now leading into turn number 3. Aviator in the 17 can't make it stick on the outside line. The same rules from last night. You cannot push the driver on that low line. Well, Pete, has those rules been amended? Can we push on the low line now? 42 leads out of 4.
They could push anywhere they want to push. The same rules that were in effect last night are not in effect tonight. So they can push on the bottom, on the top, in the middle, wherever they can fit it. They can push.
And
Word come. Go ahead, Word.
I was going to say, they go to the top side here. Rose blocking the top, as well as Lucky Dog. And they're right now trying to pull this 17 of Aviator, who has a good little run. But you look at the bottom, Jacobs in the 14. He's getting a strong push from Jose 95. In fact, such a strong push that he's going to move up to second and try to go potentially for the lead. Let's see if the 42 comes up to the 13. Not quite yet. For the moment, it's still CGMX Rose in the lead, but now the inside line with the advantage compared to the 3 drivers. It's only 3 cars on the top as they work their way into turn 1.
Yeah, on the high side, you got the 13 of Lucky Dog, 17 of Aviator, 48 of Rowdy. 48 kind of backed off just a bit. I don't think that was on purpose, and that allowed the bottom line to really pull ahead by almost 3 cars. The 95 of Jose is just about clear, and every bit of momentum that the high side had is now dissipated. Rick, this is why that rule was in place last night, and although I was skeptical at first, I was happy to see the product that was put on the track as the night went on. I would have loved it if they were able to get it done tonight, as it looks like the 17 is going to go around and collect quite a few in the back after giving the 2-car Stout Whiskey a little bit of door music, and it looks like caution is out.
Caution is indeed out, Pete, with 20 laps to go remaining in stage number 1. That last time into turn number 3, they were clocked at 216 miles per hour. Virtual or not, that is blisteringly quick into that 33 degrees of Daytona Beach banking. These tires already, Pete, have taken quite the relative shredding at those speeds, so they may play a factor tonight. Fuel as well is going to be an issue in the 3rd stage, as for now, everybody should be good to go on gas. Expect this green flag to come with 18 laps to go.
Yeah, once they come out of the pits, any adjustments, which I don't believe they're going to make any wholesale adjustments. It's not like a normal preset where they're going to go in and get to the tires and jack them up right off the bat. Because they're racing with setups tonight, they mostly got what they got. They can make a couple of small adjustments with the wedge, tire pressure, and the tape, but that's going to be about it. But we're going back green. 42 of Rose now in the lead.
Indeed, Rose in the lead. He has a more smoke behind. Now, that incident looked to be a lag incident that brought out the yellow. You got to wonder how tentative the field will be here as they come back to green. And you wondered about adjustments. Well, the only adjustments you can really make is really altering with the wedge. If you feel too loose, You may go up a couple clicks to tighten it up in the center of the corner, but that's really all you can do here at Daytona. Rose getting a good shove. Smoke had a run, but now he falls higher to the high side as he has Dan the Lawn Man pushing him. Right now, Rose has the lead with the 2 car on his bumper. Lucky Dog back up to third, but they're all snaking behind. And I'll tell you what, when I'm looking at it right now, Rick, I'm really surprised there's not more guys on the high side as they work their way into turn number 2.
Rick, it looks like the first guy that's out here without a win so far, and I don't mean this in any kind of a slight towards the 18 of Ingles. I don't remember when his last NNR victory actually was. So right now, Ingles up there and looking pretty sporty, sitting inside the top 5. You also got the 6 of the captain, which is new to NNR this year. Bot Fusion and NNR lead. Guys, good to see you out there. Thanks for coming out like you said you would. Absolutely appreciate you guys. Couple of past NNR drivers hanging out. Now turned iRacers. Wish you guys a whole lot of luck. I know some of you guys out there were pulling for the 2 Stout Whiskey, the 24 Coe, and a couple of others. But right now, Rick, the 42 has the entire field right where he wants them.
CGMX Rose leading single file out of turn 3 into turn 4. About 10 cars, more than that, single file out of the 4th corner. The driver's just trying to figure out where they can put their cars. With these exit speeds of 206 miles an hour out of the 4th corner, reaction times and being suave, being smooth, and caressing that wheel out of the 4th corner is going to be necessary more than ever to avoid fatal mistakes. The Star-Spangled Wienermobile of Asylums in that number 6 already having a little trouble keeping the line. I'm sorry, that's Captain in that number 6. Still single file down the back, Pete. They can all make it, but my question is this. Who will have the bravery to stick their nose to the outside and try the high line?
Right now, there's, 1, 2, 3, there's about 7 guys on that high line with the 24 of Coe kind of running tail end Charlie right there with the 36 of Boehner, 38 of Fatless Dig, and all those guys just, I'm guessing somebody didn't judge the turn on time and kind of smacked that wall just a little bit. That broke up every bit of momentum that the high side had, made them duck down to the bottom and try to carry on. It's kind of odd to see the 36 of Boehner this far back, especially on one of these restrictor plate tracks, but it could be a little bit of strategy by him as well. Nobody wants to get a whole lot of damage at the beginning and have to suffer the entire race. The draft is huge, but if you got a damaged car, it's not going to pull you around as efficiently.
And right now, you saw a potential battle for the lead as Captain had jumped to the high side, Pete, but now he falls back into about the 10th position as he had no draft help. Again, I mentioned it on the top of the broadcast. The way you're going to get the lead tonight is if you utilize the inside line to set up the outside line. Right now, though, everyone content following the Pied Piper of CGMX Rose, as everyone has done all year long. You have to wonder, though, as these laps continue to wind down, what would be the magic number for these drivers to go? I would have to imagine most of these drivers would be content until the final 2 laps, Rick.
Into that first corner, the 42 of Rose leads. The 2 of Stout Whiskey and the Discount Tire Mustang is second, and Lucky Dog sits P3 right now with the 22 of J-Pot in fourth. Aviator back up to fifth after taking a spill several laps ago. It's going to be 10 laps left this time by Stout Whiskey testing the waters on the outside line, but you just need help. It's going to take 2, possibly 3 race cars to overtake the leader out of any corner. Heading into 3 and heading into 1 is going to be the best time for that slingshot. Pete, 1-0, 10 laps left on the board. How is the outside pass going to get made?
It's gonna have to happen off the last lap before the end of the stage, and really hope that slingshot, as as made famous by Talladega Nights, Slingshot Engage, and see what they can do with it. Just like we saw Papa Bear, the way he was able to get that win in the trucks on the very last lap, last corner, pull to the outside of Old Cadillac, and get his very first W in NNR. Will we see something that aggressive for a stage break when every single point matters in such a competitive field? I'd have to say yes. Atlanta Racing, I got an answer for you, buddy. What's your question?
Oh, we have a wreck. Big wreck in the back.
Caution's
Yep,
going to be out all
and
over the
you
track.
just called it where caution is out. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry, buddy.
No, that's okay. I was going to say the 36 of Boehner was involved in that one. He was hooked on a couple of cars moving through the field. The 88 of Alpha York will catch up here. I believe the 3 of Outlaw was caught up in that crash. A couple others, but we're going to reset here, Pete. It's going to be right around 6 to go when we take the green flag.
Yeah, 6 to go here in stage 1. 65 to go to complete the entire race tonight. Because it's the night race, it's a little bit shorter than the 500. So only 100 laps for these guys tonight. If they keep on going at the pace, they could be looking at setting a pretty damn good pace for the entire conclusion of the race. We'll definitely have to see. I'm not quite sure who caused that first Atlanta. I don't know. That wreck right there, I did see the 36 out of sorts, but I don't know if he caused it or what the case was. But coming back green, it's going to be the 42 CGMX 2-car Stout Whiskey to the outside. Again, Rose getting a great jump with those Fanatec gears and equipment. Don't know whose setup he got, but both of them being Pro League drivers, I'm sure they did most of it themselves. Tina the Aviator, there's the 9-car, more smoke for the first time, and sitting in P4. Caution down again, guys.
Yeah, it looked like NNR Outlaw had gotten walled by someone. I believe it was a red car. I don't think it was Jose, but a car that was very reminiscent to the 95. And needless to say, they went up the track, hit Outlaw, and he kind of lost control coming back down towards the back of the field and caused a bit of a pileup. This should get interesting because obviously when you look at restrictor plate tracks, cautions breed cautions. But when we come back green this time, all these drivers now really have to go for it because there's not going to be many laps left in this first stage.
Word, I agree 100%. We're coming to this line now, and we're going to have just a handful of laps remaining. The 42 of CGMX Rose leading this race, the 13 of Lucky Dog in second, Aviator sitting in third. Then you have the number 9 of Amore Smoke in fourth, and Trip rounding out the top 5. 4 Chevrolets into that first 5, headed into turn number 1. Pete, I think the outside line is going to have a lot more staying power this time around.
It's absolutely possible. You got that 13 Geico Camaro up top. You got the 9 of Amore Smoke running that famed pale blue and white universe scheme that, man, I can't wait till we give that car away, Rick. Then we got the 22 of J-Pot who is inside. Jose 95 down low as well. And look at the run that Lucky's got. He's actually going to split the 17 of the Aviator, send him right in the middle, and not able to control it. Everybody is around in the back of the pack. I think it would have been better if the 13 had picked up the 17 there, but under caution, that is going to put an end to stage number 1. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You want to know how to follow NNR? Here you go.
Hey NNR fans, don't miss any of the action by following or subscribing to Repeat's Twitch channel. Turn on notifications and you'll always know when the best preset league on Xbox hits the track. Check out his YouTube channel too to see all of NNR's past races. Follow No Name Racing as well as Repeat 1975 and others on Twitter, and you'll never miss any of the action.
All right, we are back right in time for one more restart. We're going to pick up where we left off, just at a different stage. Stage number 2 coming your way. I'm going to work my way back up to the front here and catch up with our leaders. Looks like it's going to be the 36 of Boehner with the 51 to his outside, 43 of Sweeterfeed. He could be another good pick for his first win with the 18 of Ingles to the outside. A little bit of a lag shot backwards from the 43. Here comes the 14 to the outside. Everybody right now still side by side, starting down the backstretch.
Indeed, and right now, Boehner has the nose for a moment. You look up towards the top, they're starting to cycle a little bit. Let's see if NNR Trick gets aggressive, maybe not, as he chooses to push. At the end of the stage, there was a little incident in which Trick bounced off the apron and ultimately created calamity, but it benefited him because of the fact that he finished second in stage number 1. But the issue is now, as they start to race side by side from fifth on back, the cars that were up in front are now in the middle of the field, while drivers who went to the back to play pit strategy now own the lead. And that is the situation as Boehner works high off of turn number 2. A lot of cars again slicing and dicing towards the mid-pack. Here's Rose now to the inside in 3. You have to protect the lead if you're Boehner, because there's a lot stronger cars in terms of fuel and tires sitting right behind and coming quick.
Rick, there is a pretty. I'm sorry, bud.
No.
There's a pretty substantial line up on that, up in that second group now. Could actually come on up and keep up with that bottom line. There's about 7, maybe 8 cars. If the 12 a little bit further back is able to catch the draft coming off that 3 of Outlaw, they might be able to bring themselves up to the lead and battle it out once again.
Absolutely, Pete. The Cash App Chevrolet, piloted by Sweeterfeeds on the outside, gains momentum down the front, but through the corner 1 lap ago out of 4, there was just contact, and there it is again. Sweeterfeeds has lost it. He's gone in the wall. Cars are trying to avoid him. Everybody is just losing control, and there's 2, 3 cars out of the 4th corner. The 43's involved. The 48's been collected. The 24's involved. We stay green through the front stretch. 21 to go, Word.
Indeed, 21 laps to go, and they continue to stay green, and now it's about a 15, maybe 20 car breakaway up towards the front and about 4 cars farther off the pack, as well as the wrecked race cars farther behind. The 18, he gets down to the bottom line, and the bottom line continuing to form for the moment. But one thing consistent, Boehner is still in the lead. But based upon what we've seen tonight, Pete, the 13 and the 42 have worked together from the start of the green flag. Will they try to make a move? It looks like Rose tries to, and now here comes Stout Whiskey to his aid. 13 stay down low. They're wrecking behind yet again as Boehner starts to pull away, and the caution has come out.
Yeah, caution's finally out. You see, I think the 2 car probably could have given the 42 CZMX Rose a little bit better of a bump going up high, but he just wasn't square with that back bumper. So he did a really great job in checking up and then coming up to give him a little bit of a shot. And it looks like this caution is actually a little bit of a manual caution. So I talked earlier about an email that was sent out to anybody that subscribes to my channel. I'm thinking over the course of the night, I'm going to give away. I'm thinking about 7 of these gift cards that I've got. You know, I'm not going to be here next week. Rick James, you're going to have the helm, and you're going to have one hell of a week all to yourself with the Lucky Dog on Tuesday night. Word Burton here on Thursday night, and we'll find somebody if you don't have somebody in mind already for Wednesday night. And right after that, you kind of get one more race in, and then we got Thanksgiving. There's no racing the week of Thanksgiving, and right after Thanksgiving, you got Black Friday. Everybody wants to get their shop in. So I'm going to call the first of one of these names out right now, and we're going to give away a $10 gift card. And again, throughout the night, we'll give out more and more. I've seen this guy out here in chat already, and in fact, he just said something about winning them all. More than a cape, you give a whole lot a lot of people have given to you to help your charity. I'm going to give you a $10 gift card right back at you, buddy. Cape, I've got a Amazon.com or a NASCAR.com $10 gift card with your name on it, buddy. Please see me after the race. That's one card down, 6 more to go tonight, or a Dave Brett USA signed CD. Man, Cape, thank you for what you do. We're still looking to give that diecast away as soon as possible, but we'll talk to you after the show, buddy. All right, so they got that caution underway. Most of the guys have been in, they've come out, or they've stayed out. Wasn't completely paying attention. I had to open up the first of one of those papers, and yeah, it looks like Stout Whiskey right now. He's gonna restart in P3 right behind the 13, and I think that's the 36 that stayed up there. Not 100% sure. I'm gonna try to work my way back up.
That would be correct. It was Boehner.
All right. Thank you very much. So what are you looking forward to now out of the second part of state? Oh, I never, not like it's really 100% necessary, just a little bit of added, IT, I guess you could say, but never put that caution flag out. But now with that caution, we saw the 43 get turned, bumped up into the wall by somebody on the outside. If later on there's some kind of an issue about penalty points because the 43 almost brought out the caution, I'd have to side with him because we all saw him kind of get hit up there. Not 100% sure about that wreck right there, but here we go. Double file coming back down the backstretch. What are you looking forward to out of the rest of the stage number 2 here, sir?
Well, to be honest, I don't know what to think now coming into stage 2, because during that yellow flag cycle, we saw CGMX Rose come down to pit, and now he finds himself around the middle portion of the pack here when we come back green. So I'm very eager to see what strategies come to play. But one thing that makes these manual yellows, Pete, so much better than the automatic yellows is that these drivers are going to be a little bit more spread out, which means the outside lane could be even more of a beneficiary here on the restart while these drivers start to slice and dice for position. It looks like they get ready to go into the restart zone, and Rick Boehner will lead them back to green.
Boehner leading them back to green. The number 13 of Lucky Dog was outside. Stout Whiskey third. The number 14 of Quims starting in fourth. And then you've got the number 18 of Ingles back in fifth. His return to NNR after a small hiatus, as you said, Pete. Now they don't have a lot of laps left in this one after that caution. Everyone's good to make it on fuel, but we'll see really who wants to test those waters on the outside.
Right now, it doesn't really look like anybody's willing to test those waters. They may be shark infested, or they've just seen the contact that was made to the guys trying to get a run done from somebody on the bottom that wasn't quite able to paint that double yellow. Right now, you got the 36 of Boehner, Stout Whiskey. He's got to be somewhat content just to push for now with that 14 of Jay Quim and the 18, as you said, of Ingles. And I believe behind Ingles is going to be the 6 of Captain. The 6 of Captain, and behind him is going to be the 42 of CDMX Rose. So right now, the top 6, including that Stout, are pretty stout right now. Boehner looks like he might be either a little tight or something. Not 100% sure. Made Stout Whiskey go to the outside, and he's got help. Rick James, high side, is coming with a head of steam.
They did the slingshot, 3 cars pushing Stout Whiskey to the front of this race. The 14 clears as well. The 18 of Ingles is going to be left out to dry, but they're still trying to take him on the outside, and the 6 of Captain continues to push. 3 Fords and 1 Toyota on the outside trying to take the 36 of Boehner for everything. Shades of the 2000 Daytona 500 when Dale Jarrett and company ran a train around the outside of Johnny Benson, and all 4 cars clear the leader into turn number 1. What an orchestrated move for first place.
That wasn't bad. Word, when you have competition this deep, it's not all that common where you can see 3, 4, and almost 5 guys. If Rose was able to pull that off as well, be able to pass the leader on the bottom. That just goes to show the kind of speed that 2-car Stout Whiskey has, as well as the guys that were behind him, willing to shove all the way through, even on the high side. So right now, 2-car Stout Whiskey, 14 of Jake Wim, 18 of Engel, 6 of Captain. And man, there's a whole lot of cars on the bottom, few on top. They're gonna continue to dig as next time either Boehner or Alfie York come on by the start stripe, will get a lap count. But right now, Stout's looking pretty good.
Indeed, Stout is looking really good as they work their way into turn number 3. And I'll tell you what, they got very lucky, Pete, that they got to the lead, because further back, there was Captain giving a big shove into turn 3, but he ended up cutting off the nose of Lucky Dog, breaking the group of what was 6 cars down to 3 cars. But it was still enough of horsepower to put that discount tire Ford up in front. But now you again look at that top 5. Stout Whiskey, he's been a winner this season. However, he has 4, maybe even 5 hungry drivers that are looking for their first mark this year. And while it's only stage 2, you have to wonder, Rick, how many friends does Stout Whiskey have behind him coming down to the closing laps of stage 2?
2, 14, 18, your top 3 out of the 4th corner, 2 Mustangs and a Camry on the podium positions. Captain in the 4th position, and then I believe that's the 38, correct me if I'm wrong, sitting there in 5th. 4 Fords in the top 5 as another lap ticks down. And Pete, it's looking the same as stage 1, where the inside line is dominant, and we've seen with our own eyes that the outside line works, but it takes an orchestration of cars at the same time to make anything happen. It's going to be up to the 14 Quims to lead the attack for first.
Oh, I don't think Jake Quims is planning on pulling out of this draft anytime soon. Unlike last night's rules, he has been all over pushing the crap out of that 2-car, that wild deuce of old Stout Whiskey. And then he's got the 18 of Engel, 6 of Captain, and it looks like the first 5 or 6 are really starting to pull away just a little bit. I don't know what gears. I think that's the 12 of Knights. No, actually, it's actually the 13 of Lucky. I would imagine, Lucky being a setup racer, in the Pro League, in eSpark, and in several others. If I'm not mistaken, he's also in RSR, isn't he, Ward?
Not anymore in RSR, but the way you're looking at this, and you see all the checking up here, Pete, I want to say this. Lucky is trying to orchestrate a run here down the backstretch. He's trying to time it exactly right. He has the laps to do it, but he's really trying to lay off this 3-car so they can organize a group to try to push up to the lead. They look like they have the speed. The question is, can they find the run in the space? Here they come again down the backstretch. Big shove as he starts to get to the bumper of the 3. Expect the 13 to duck out here. He does, but the 3 throws the block. Now they got to get down. The 3 comes up again. 13, a sitting duck for a moment as he has to come back to the inside line another time.
Out of that 4th corner, the 32 of Drake now coming up the short chute behind the 6 of Captain. 9 laps to go in stage number 2. Stout Whiskey still leading steadfast, trying to direct that snake of stock cars behind him to make sure they push him to the front. But already the 6 of Captain, the 14 of Quims, and this 32 of NNR Drake are practicing their own moves, their own Daytona shuffles to try and scoot their way past the leader, Pete.
Yeah, you got 18 of Ingles. He actually got moved out of line, but was able to find a spot right behind that 32 of the driver formerly known as Exclusively Elite. Now NNR Drake sitting right there in P5. There's the 21 of Parsable, 3-car of Outlaw also sitting inside this very strong top 10. now there is just a consummate conga line all the way around this track. There's the guys that have lost the draft, but most of them right here in this main draft, coming through the corners, heading down the backstretch. Nobody yet willing or even going to try to pull out and pass the two of Stout Whiskey. Is Stout too stout tonight?
Well, Stout's very strong, but I think the big thing is right now he has a lot of loose and out of control race cars behind him. I mean, you see the 18 swerving left and right, having a very hard time holding the line. The same thing could be said about the 3 right now as they start to get to the later portions of this green flag run. Expect those runs to again start cycling through. You're starting to see more smoke drop a little bit farther back. The 13 is really pushing the 3, perhaps having some trust issues after that block about 3 laps ago. I believe, again, you're going to start seeing a second line start to form maybe in the next 2 to 3 laps, but it's trying to set it up, which is the tough part. And right now, I think that's the big issue the 13 is facing when trying to start this second line up to the high side.
Down that short chute across the line. Another lap ticks down, and we now have 6 laps remaining in stage number 2. Stout Whiskey leads the 14 of Jay Quims, the 6 of Captain in third, then the 32 of Drake. 4 Fords in the top 4, 5 Fords in the top 6. The 18 of Ingalls hanging on by a thread. He keeps on trying the outside, but to no avail. Possibly the 3 of Outlaw, the only non-Ford in the top set, the only non-Ford or Toyota in the top 7, could make a move to that outside. Pete, 5 to go this time by. The 14 of Quims is getting pushed out of the way.
Yeah, 14 got shoved out. Here comes the 6 captain. Got the 32 Drake right there, as well as the 18 of Ingalls. 18 looks like once he got shuffled out and found himself lucky enough to get a spot right back on that bottom line, he has not left it. Now you can see the 12 car the 21 of Parzival. Now he's going to find himself inside the top 5 with that 3 of Outlaw right with him. Good to see you out there, Lions Pride. Bill's Legend, thank you very much. Cape, also thank you very much for sticking around, and also thank you very much for the bits. Everybody out there that's been here the entire race or just checking in, this is the NNR Cup Series live from Daytona International Speedway. One of 2 setup races that they're going to be racing this year here and at Talladega. Now, Word Burton, I got to ask, all these guys normally run presets. Does running a setup with such a faster time really throw up your timing getting into these corners? It seems like some of these guys are either entering the corner late or might be getting a little tight because they're not used to going 220 in P4 or P5. How much more do they really need to anticipate and turn into that corner?
Well, I think especially if you're a couple of these guys on controller, you really do have to anticipate. But I think it's the opposite, actually, Pete. They're not necessarily tight, but rather loose. When you make a Daytona setup or a Talladega setup, you really have to, compensate with handling and speed. And typically drivers such as Lucky Dog, for example, loves to go for the top speed aspect rather than the handling. If you're on a wheel such as Stout Whiskey, this is almost normal for you. You can almost drive like the default. But when you're on controller, it's a little bit harder to adjust because it's no longer a simple tap of the controller. You have to really hold down and be careful. Otherwise, it's going to be sensitive. So that's the reason why I said a lot of ill-handling race cars a few laps ago. This is one of those tracks where you can really tell the differences. Looks like a couple cars making a slice to the outside. Actually, I think we have a yellow.
Yeah, yellow, and not only that, Rick, but the stage caution has come out. So, guys, we're going to take one more caution break, and then we'll be right back to bring in the end. NNRLeague.com. Here we go. Break.
That was a caution break out to end the stage, or that was the end
To
of
end
the
the
stage?
stage. Guys, I keep cutting you off and
mistake.
stepping on your toes. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. My stream must be like 2 laps behind them. We have to refresh it.
All right, so stage number 3, guys. Here we go. One more stage for all the marbles, as the saying goes. Rick James, it looks like our picks so far are doing pretty well. How are you, sir?
I am loving this, Pete. 30 laps to go under these Daytona lights. The 2 of Stout Whiskey leading the 6 of Captain to the outside, losing traction. The 32 of Drake now behind that 2 with the 18 of Ingalls, the perennial plant that just won't go away. That colorful Skittles weed in that 18 Camry staying in the top 5. I'm sure he's got something special. Meanwhile, the 2 of Stout Whiskey continues to lead, and the 6 of Captain is losing control in 3.
Yeah, I was actually seeing a little bit of lag out of him before all that, but there is definitely a huge wreck coming off of turns 1 and 2, and that's going to bring in very, very early caution out. So now, do you come in even though we just started, or do you stay out? You know, you go in and top off, Rick, or do you stay out just for that coveted track position?
These high speeds and the move around the outside are going to require tires, something that we've never seen at a plate track before. Even just 5% of wear could make that difference when you're trying to make the move on the outside, especially if it comes to that last lap finish. There's well over 25 laps left in this stage. I don't see any reason not to come down. Word?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree, Rick. I think you come down here and at minimum take a splash of gas. And you see right now, Lucky Dog perhaps being the one that did that as he gains about 4 positions in the pits as he goes to P2. But you see the 18 of Ingballs. He is the one in the lead as the 18 for the first time tonight leads him to green, followed by a more Smoke, who gives them a good little push to the inside as they work their way into turn number 1 here, Pete.
Oh, a little bit of a lag shot back. I'm not sure if the 18 hit the 9, and then the 9 went back into the 3 of Rowdy, or did the 3 surge up and hit the 9 into the back of the 18. Either way, that bottom line got single filed out pretty quick. They're dicey in the back. One car going way into the infield, and another one tipping and tumbling down that backstretch. I tell you what, Rick James, you know, I gave you a couple of names earlier, didn't I?
Oh, I believe you did, Pete. Let's go ahead and pull up the notes and take a look.
Just give me one of those, if you would, please, sir.
One of these names. Well, let's take one of these names. I believe we're going to pick Silent Killer on that list.
All right. Well, Silent Killer, I know that he's normally a driver here in the Cup Series, but he is not here tonight. He's actually up in Detroit under contract work. So I will go ahead and get a Silent. I'll go ahead and get a hold of Silent and get him a code for either an Amazon.com or a NASCAR.com gift card. I sent the picture out on Twitter not too long ago showing all cards laid out right next to that Dave Bray signed CD. In case y'all don't know who Dave Bray is, when you saw the original, I'm sorry, when you saw the beginning of the broadcast tonight, it's the lead singer for Madison Rising. He went his own way a while back, created his own brand, DaveBrayUSA.com. I actually went there and bought a shirt for myself not too long ago. And he was nice enough to send me a CD to give away on one of these streams. So, again, big thank you to Madison Rising. Big thank you to Dave Bray USA. And we are back under green, halfway down the backstretch. 18 in the lead, 13 a Lucky Dog. He's on the outside. 9 is giving that 18 a big old shove for all he's worth. And Outlaw behind that 13.
Yeah, right now, when you look up at the point, obviously that 18 in the lead, and you know Lucky Dog wants to get to the bottom, but right now that horsepower in that Geico Camaro Chevrolet is looking very... You see the 18, yes, he has the edge and the drafting advantage. And how about NNR Trip, Pete? He finished second in stage one, fell apart in stage two, and faded towards the back, but now he's back up into a podium spot here in stage three. We've seen a couple of lag yellows and incidences here. It's going to make fuel strategy as well interesting, as what should have been a one pit stop stage may now be a no pit stop stage, and everyone racing it all the way to the end here.
Rick, there as they come to the line right now, this is marking lap number 60. So 20 laps remaining. Ingalls is one of those guys that we talked about earlier who does not have a win this season. I don't actually recall him actually having a win on Heat either. So this could be a win very overdue for that 18 Skittles Camry. We'll have to see if he's able to get it done. Right now, just like I talked about Stout Whiskey earlier, Stout had the whole field where he wanted him. Right now, the 18's got the field where he wanted him, but he's got a two-time winner this season so far. That 9 of them more smoke. He's felt slighted a couple weeks. He might be he might pull out that old Papa Bear maneuver that we saw in the trucks on Tuesday night and make that last lap pass. We'll have to see. Like I mentioned, 19 or 20 laps remaining in this NNR Cup race right here from Daytona. First time ever under setups. Not bad so far. A couple yellows there, Rick, but all in all, pretty daggone good for a bunch of preset drivers.
For a bunch of preset drivers setting up just some slapped together setups with a very active draft. They have made an incredible show for these fans. The 18 of Ingalls leads a more smoke in the 9 and then trip in the 16 out of the fourth corner. Toyota, Chevy with 19 laps to go. We mentioned fuel mileage earlier, and the drivers have enough to make it the rest of the scheduled distance. If overtime is a factor, and I'm predicting that it will be, they will need fuel and possibly tires. These speeds are out of control, Pete. Last night, about 5 minutes after 10, we experienced something that we hadn't seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
The bump. It is 9:52 and change Eastern time, 7 minutes and counting to the bump, so it could be a race to the end of the server, not the checkered flag.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, Rick, and hopefully that's not the the commentator's curse right there. Word Burton, what he's talking about. 10:08 last night, right on the button. The server completely shut down. The Xfinity race was about 3 or 4 laps away from completing stage number 2. So they went ahead and restarted a stage 3, and it was a pretty good race to see the 43 of Sweeterfeed going through the grass down the backstretch one more time. He's going to have an E in grass cutting after tonight in this Cash App 43. But either way, great hands by the 43 of Sweeterfeed. Way to keep control of that thing. Not always the easiest thing to do when you're coming through the grass after getting shoved down all the way down through the infield.
Indeed, a heck of a save. And again, you mentioned 10:08. That's been typical, unfortunately, for the Heat servers, and it's going to make things interesting, especially with lag already being present due to the couple of yellows we saw in stage 3. But for the first time tonight, we've seen the pack split. But that is because of an incident. Guys like a more smoke here, Pete, they actually benefit for one reason. If you look farther in the back, CGMX Rose is all by himself. He got involved in an incident and ended up spinning about 10 laps ago off of turn number 4. He now finds himself in the tail of everything. So, guys that are looking to continue good points runs, like the 9, for example, after a tough week at Bristol, a more smoke could benefit off a very bad third stage from CGMX Roads.
Absolutely. You know what, Word? Just like our buddy Rick James a little bit ago, under that caution, I think I gave you a couple of names as well. Go ahead and read one off for me, please.
Indeed. Well, one of our winners is NNR Bowling, who I would imagine is getting a $10 gift card to either Amazon or NASCAR.com.
You got it. So NNR Bowling, thank you very much for subbing to your channel. What covers your races. Congratulations on your 2 wins so far this year in the Truck Series. Congratulations on this gift card as well. I don't know if you're out there in chat. If you're not, no big deal. You don't have to be here to win. So I'll actually go ahead and reach out to you. But Bowling, congratulations. You got your pick. Depending on what's left. I mean, that's the third card right. If everybody before you picks Amazon, well, then you've got a NASCAR.com gift card. We'll have to see. But, gentlemen, we stay green here, riding along right now with the 22, the ever-popular J-Paw, right in front of that 88 of Alpha York, which was your pick, Rick. If I'm not mistaken, they're sitting pretty handily right outside the top 10, but very comfortable in this main draft, Rick.
Alpha York has had a horrible race so far, Pete. By every standard in the book, he's been involved in many accidents. He hasn't been able to make the necessary passes on the outside, and he's found little to no draft help. He now finds himself challenging for 11th place with less than 15 laps to go. 18, 9, 16, still your top 3, but you can tell that these drivers are starting to get dicey. Less than 3.5 minutes to the bump. Lucky number 13 laps remaining.
Yeah, only 13, and Lucky Dog right now isn't sitting so lucky. He was very, very strong in the beginning. I'm actually going through the field right now to see if I can pick up on that Geico Camaro. And that actually, there he is. He's sitting right about P6, right in front of that very, very fast juice of stout whiskey, and the 32 of Drake, and the 6 of Captain. Again, we got that very, very long conga line coming through the trial now, where the cars tend to get a little light. And if these guys didn't get the setup just right, if they felt during their own tweaking after your help or Captain's help or whoever's help, as the fuel burns off, as Rick said, they're going to be very, very close on fuel if it doesn't go to a green-white checker. As the cars get lighter, is it going to matter that much coming through the trial?
Well, it's not going to matter in terms of burning fuel, but where it is going to matter is these cars are going to get quicker and quicker. Now, one thing I'm looking at when you look at burning fuel, you see there's right now currently 2 distinct packs. You have the lead conga line, but you look farther back, the 17 of Aviator, he's getting shoved in like very, very hard by the 95 of Jose 95X. What has been very impressive, this group was about 2.5 seconds back at one point. They've closed it down to about a second and are starting to catch the tail end of this group. Expect these drivers to utilize the draft of J-Paw, who is at the end of this line, and start making a run towards the front. What that means, Pete and Rick, expect it to start being a 2-line show in a matter of the next 2 laps.
Out of this 4th corner leading into the trial for Word, it's the 18 of Ingles, who hasn't had a win in ages. 10 laps to go, 9 circulations left at Daytona the next time around. We'll see what these drivers can do to make that move on the outside. Top 3 remains unchanged, Pete, and again, they have enough fuel to make it to the scheduled distance.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I kept on watching that pack that Word was just talking about, being led by the 17 of the Aviator. Jose 95, he's also got that same Fanatec equipment as CJ Max Rose and Jose 95. I'm sorry, Jose 95 and CJ Max Rose. The 17, he's also got a wheel. He's a 2-time NNR Cup Series champ. He's very well known, very well liked, very well respected. And Rick and Word, look at this top line that just formed up as the 17 and the 95 caught up. We might actually have a race on our hands in this closing 10 if the 17 and the 95 can pull up one more time. 43 and the 3, they duck down to the bottom as that draft closed up. But will they stay high line as the laps continue to count down?
8 laps to go coming out of the fourth corner. The 18 leads, 9 in second place. The 16 of Tripp sits in third. Here comes that 21 Quaker State Mustang, and they're trying their best on that outside line, Pete, but it's just still not enough race cars. 4 cars now, 5, and now the rest hooked up nose to tail on the inside line, and the charge on the outside will now fizzle out. Captain slaps the wall out of 2, and now with 7 laps remaining, this time by Word, the 18 still has a strong grip on the rest of the field.
Indeed, the 18 does have a very strong grip, but there was some progress made on the high side as the 24 goes around. Looks like maybe a tire has gone down, perhaps for Coe, as he hits the outside wall, but they remain green, bumper to bumper, yet another time. But the 13 made progress. He is now into the 5th position. But there is one driver up towards the front that I'm very eager to see what he does, and that is Amore Smoke. Back in SXRL, he had the opportunity to race with the custom setup in a default league and ultimately finds himself in victory lane off of an aggressive move from the second position. Could he do that here again tonight? We shall see. But he right now is all over the bumper of the 18 as they get ready to set themselves up for more 2x2 action for the lead, Pete.
Yeah, 2x2, and we'll have to see if that forms up on the outside again. I have to think that that was somewhat orchestrated, the way that that second line all of a sudden appeared. As they came across the line that time off of Alpha's stream as he sits in P number 10. That was 6 laps to go. So can the 18 hold off the 9? Can he hold off the 21 of Parzival? Can he hold off the 13? If the 13 can get any other help, can he make another move to the outside? Right now, everybody back on down to that bottom line. It's going to be the 18, the 9, the 21, the 41 of Dan the Lawn Man, as well as the 13 of Lucky Dog, rounding out your top 5. And Lucky was able to find a hole after leading that charge on the outside at the last attempt, rather. So can he do it again? Can he side draft a couple guys and pull them on back? Or is, man, it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. Rick, 5 laps left.
Pete, it's going to be 4 laps left at the line. The number 18 still leading this race, and I, for one, am surprised that he's been able to have such a great stranglehold on this field. But you see the 16 of Tripp hanging back, looking for the run. He's trying to get some sort of support from the 21 of Parzival, and he's got the 41 of Dan the Lawn Man behind him. It's the first time tonight we've seen either of these drivers anywhere near the lead, and hopefully they can mount some sort of challenge. But the 18 of Ingalls already weaving and snaking through the corner, trying to break this draft. Less than 4 to go, 3 at the line. Pete, what is going to come next?
I have no idea. I really thought that the 9 of Amore Smoke right there, the way he was laying back off the 18's bumper, I think that was just an initial test. I think what we're about to see out of the 9, if he can work his way back to the 21 Menards Ford for Parzival, he's going to wait to see if the 21 will go with him. They got to be talking it up out there in their chats. I know some of these guys are in different team chats rather than just the one big Discord. If they're racing together, if they're in the same party together, they've got to be saying, hey, man, we can get this done as the 18 gets tight, and the 9's going to be able to get underneath him. So now the 21, he's going to give a big old push. Or, Rick, you mentioned it earlier. Do you think the 18, because he's been out front so long, he might be getting short on that fuel gauge and had to drop back and maybe try to salvage a top 3 or a top 5? That could be what's going on for the 18. But now with the 9, do you think he's got enough?
Amore Smoke now crosses that line in the lead. The 21 of Parzival's in second. That black 16 Chevrolet of Tripp sits in third. Then it's Ingalls in fourth. Lucky Dog in fifth. I believe they just crossed for 3 to go or 2 to go, if I'm mistaken. 9 leads out of the second corner. It's still a race to the bottom of the gas tank if we don't finish at the scheduled distance. Word Burton, where does the driver make the move?
Well, I think you're going to have to do it down the backstretch on the white flag. But a more smoke, he got it done. He got to the bottom, snuck his nose under, and got underneath the 18 for the lead. But as they come to the line, it's no regrets now. One lap to go at Daytona. It is anyone's race. What will happen here? Will the 13 of Lucky Dog lay off and try to get a run down the backstretch? Let's see. There's a good little gap as they work their way off of turn number two. They start peeking to the high side. Here comes Lucky. Looks high. Stout Whiskey low. Stout is pushing Trip. They are bumping. Oh, goodness. Stout loses the handling to the inside, and they're starting to wreck behind. Side by side for the lead. Trip, Smoke, door to door. Smoke has him clear for the moment. Stout Whiskey is coming back. But at the end of it all, it's going to be a more Smoke that gets it for the third time this season. NNR Cup victory, and yet again a big one for the number 9 Chevrolet Camaro.
I gotta say, a more smoke. He used to be the guy until actually the end of last year, if I'm not mistaken, that was never able to get it done at one of these plate tracks, and here he is, able to get that uniform Camaro up front, able to get it on by the 18 of Ingles after he either got tight or had to start conserving just a tad bit of fuel. Probably was not going to make it otherwise. Then, as you said, the 17 of the Aviator, he was able to bring his way on up, and after some last lap contact, the 2 of Stout Whiskey able to bring that in. There's the 88 of Alpha York. I know I saw the 21 of Parsable up there as well. So just about every pick that we made here, gentlemen, was able to come to fruition, at least in the top 5 or so. So we saw Stout Outlaw. Stout Whiskey in 4th, Outlaw, Alpha York, Jose Sweeterfeed, and then Dan the Lawn Man. So we're going to take another quick little commercial break right here while we allow these guys to take their cool down lap. And yeah, we'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. I got more gift cards to give away. All right. Yeah, well, for those of you that subscribe to the channel, you're actually hearing all this while everybody else is having to deal with a commercial break. So Rick James and Word Burton, one hell of a race. Definitely want to thank everybody that's come out, hung out, chatted it up, but most of all, you subscribers that help bring this channel more to life. I absolutely appreciate it. Oh man, gentlemen, what a good race! I would have rather seen the what you call it that J-Pop put into action last night. But either way, these guys got it done in pretty spectacular style. It'll be interesting once we bring our drivers back. All right, guys, thanks again for hanging out. Definitely appreciate it. So for these post-race interviews, and like I said, stick around. We've got some more gift cards to give away. But Word Burton, the guy that kind of snuck in there, went very much under the radar. NNR Trip bringing it home. P3, unfortunately, one of the casualties of the server lag. Yeah, bring that 16th Fraternal Order of Eagles home.
Indeed, well, I'm here with our third place finisher of NNR Trip, his first podium finish on the season. And Trip, I'll tell you what, for you, it was a roller coaster day. At the end of stage one, you finished in the second position, but then had to work your way back up to the front. For you, I'd imagine this is your first time really utilizing custom setups in terms of a league racing aspect at a restrictor plate track. First off, how fun was it, and how much of a challenge was the race overall?
I don't know if I exactly had that much fun. I mean, it was fun drafting people, but everybody was checking up. It was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. We were going 193 miles into turn one. Like, that shouldn't happen. We should be up to like 206, 205, something like that, you know? It was crazy, though. I did what I could.
Now, coming off of turn number 4, you were door to door for the win with a more smoke, but you just couldn't get it done as smoke was just able to hold you off. Is there anything that you would have played back maybe differently going to turn 3, the final lap?
No, not really. I mean, I was just hoping whoever was behind me was going to go with me. I caught the run, and I don't know what happened exactly. I just got slowed up a lot when I got to the outside. I side drafted the 9, and it pulled him back just a little bit, but it wasn't enough.
Now, obviously, the start for this season for you hasn't been exactly the best that you've hoped for it, but a podium at a restrictor plate track, nonetheless, especially for something that's out of your norm, takes a lot of skill, to say the least. Do you feel this is going to really help build some more momentum going throughout the rest of the season for you?
I hope so. I mean, I'm better at the bigger tracks. The short tracks is where I tend to choke, as you see last week.
Well, you got a good result here today after a tough race at Bristol. Indeed, Trip, congratulations on your third place result. Anyone to shout out here for tonight?
All the new guys, well, they ain't new to the league, but they're new to me for running with them. Stout, all them guys, they all cut me break. J Powell, I can't even think of them. Ingalls, I don't even know who it was. There's a bunch of us in there working together.
Indeed, well, Trip, again, congratulations on your third place result. Back to you in the booth, Pete.
Actually, I'm gonna hand it on over. Actually, you know what? I know you've got one more name, sir. While we're on you, you might as well go ahead and shout it out for one more of these gift cards to bring it to light. Give us that second name, please.
Indeed, the second man with the $10 gift card to either Amazon or NASCAR.com goes to the one and only NNR Asbill. Asbill, congratulations.
Asbel, absolutely congratulations. I don't know if you're out there in chat. Not really running an NNR, but as I said, you don't actually have to be here in order to win. So, buddy, I'll get a hold of you at some point, unless one of your many friends in here decides to shout you out and tells you to join the stream. But either way, bud, I'll go ahead and get a hold of you, and we'll get you one of these codes. And we still have, we still have 3 more to give away. Rick James, why don't you go ahead and pick up P number 2, please, sir?
We are now with P2, second place finisher in tonight's Daytona race, talking about the number 42 of CGMX Rose coming home in that second position. I believe that was CGMX Rose in the second place, no?
That was me.
The Aviator.
Aviator, my apologies. Got confused looking at the pictures there. Aviator, you come home on the second podium position there. You had a good run behind the number 9 of more smoke, but in the end, it came up a little bit too short, too late. How difficult was it trying to get around that 9?
Well, really, the goal wasn't to pass the 9 at that point because I was about 4 seconds back the whole pack with about 8 to go. So we drove all the way back up there, and I somehow got up to second, so I was more than happy with that.
it seems like you were more than happy just sitting in second place, but you also took a couple of spills at the beginning of the event. It couldn't have been a happy time trying to work your way from the back to the front, but you managed to bring home that second place finish. I think that really just proves how difficult, but how difficult the challenge was, but also how you managed to overcome that challenge and get on the podium. Any shout outs for any special people in your life tonight?
Yeah, shout out to Jose and everyone in that last pack. That was sick. We were super far back and hauled up to there.
It looked like you had a really good time out there, man. Congratulations on the second place finish.
Thank you, man.
Pete, you
And
were the
Rick,
race winner.
actually, Rick, if you don't mind, sir, I know that you've got one more name as well. Can you go ahead and shout them on out for one more $10 gift card before I pick up all the more smoke?
For one more $10 gift card tonight, we're going to call out TN Vols to receive that gift card, Pete.
Good old Vols, good old buddy, man. That man dropped 10,000 bits on me last night. I gotta definitely give him a big old thank you. And man, he's been actually subscribing to the channel now for, I want to say, 3 or 4 months steady. So I was glad to see when my wife picked his name out of a hat earlier as well. So far tonight, Silent Killer, he's been able to pick up a card. Aswell picked up a card. NNR Bowling has picked up a card, as well as More Than a Cape. And then TN Vols. I've still got 2 more that I'm going to introduce in just a little bit. But first, Amor Smoke rocking that Universe 9 Camaro. Amor, you got me, old buddy.
Yeah, I got a copy.
Amor, in the closing laps, you were able to force your way, or something happened with the 18. Not quite sure if you had to move on up to save a little bit of fuel just to be able to complete the remaining laps. But you probably had a better or a bird's eye view to what happened right there. Walk us through those final laps and how were you able to keep your competition at bay?
Yeah, that last restart, we all stayed out, so I was about 2 laps short going into the run, but I didn't want to give up the track position, so ended up getting in a second, fighting off Lucky Dog on the outside. It was for a couple laps there, and once that happened, I just kind of settled in. I knew that he had the lead, so it was going to be really hard for him to save the gas because he stayed out with us, so I just kind of bided my time. I was kind of contemplating if he could make it or not, and once I got to about 4 laps, he just moved out of the way. I'm pretty sure he needed to save or was about to run out. So from there, it was just I could see, I think it was Partsville maybe behind me. He kept trying to lag back to get a run, so I would just kind of lag back too because he didn't get a huge pull on me. And going into that last backstretch, just kind of moved up the track to take the run away, and then we got through wide somehow. And luckily, Aviator came to the rescue there and gave me a big push to finish out the race.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the last restrictor plate race on Heat 4, you were finally able to get the monkey off your back. If I'm not mistaken, that was your first restrictor plate win, and then you're following it up with a restrictor plate race win the first time NNR has gone to setups. It seems like every time there's something special, whether it's a charity race or an exhibition race or that the tournament races that we had, you always seem to show up big, buddy. Congratulations on your 3rd win of the season. And a whole lot more points that are going to get tallied up. I know Rose finished a little bit further back. He was the points leader coming in, so you're going to make up some pretty big ground. Any shout-outs from you, buddy?
Yeah, shout out to all 3 of you guys for sticking in there and broadcasting our races. Glad to have Rick James and Warburton coming along to broadcast with us, and shout out to Aviator for not going with 16 there, going for me instead. So that was pretty cool.
I think you might have just a little bit stronger of a friendship than a 16 of Trip, if I'm not mistaken. So, no, buddy, congratulations. Rick James, any final thoughts on this race tonight, sir?
Sorry about that, Pete. What a way to close out this week in NNR. Just sensational racing all around, starting with the trucks on Tuesday, Xfinity yesterday, and ending with the Cubs tonight. I want to give my thanks to Lucky Dog on Tuesday, and obviously the Ward Burton tonight for helping us bring magic to the fans at home on every screen available. What a special week it was, not only for the fans, but for NNR itself, trying setups for the first time. They came into uncharted waters and they sailed them beautifully. I can't wait for the next attempt at Talladega.
Now, everybody out there in chat, please, I just put Rick James's Twitter into the chat. Go ahead and give that a big old pound and make sure you follow him. And right now I'm putting his Twitch handle in chat as well. I will not be here next week. Rick James going to be at the helm for every single one of these races that we head to at the Charlotte Roval. So starting on Tuesday night, right around 9:30 p.m., he's going to be the man with the one and only Lucky Dog that you saw on track tonight in that 13 Geico Camaro. On Wednesday night, he'll have a special guest to assist with the Xfinity race, 8:30 p.m. As J-Pa leads his group into the Roval. And then, of course, next Thursday night, he'll be right back here with Word Burton to call the Cup races you get from the Charlotte Roval. So make sure you give him a follow, give him a like, and keep notifications on so you know when he goes live. Of course, pay attention to Facebook, pay attention to Twitter. I know, Rick, you don't have a Facebook, so I'm sure Stout Whiskey or Coey or somebody else will get that out. Rock NASCAR is great about that help as well. Word Burton, how about you, buddy? Any final thoughts about this race tonight, sir?
Well, I'll tell you what, Daytona lived up to its hype with its first opportunity at custom setups. We saw that side-by-side finish that ultimately made it so exciting to watch from the start of the night in what strategies were to be played. But when we speak of strategies, it makes me very, very excited for next week when both Rick and I have that opportunity to get to watch the best of the best in road course racing. We got to see our first short track race last week. This week, we got to see the better of the plate racers. Now, we get to see our first road course race, and especially on defaults, when the Roval's arguably one of the harder tracks to deal with. I cannot wait to see what happens and ultimately who comes home victorious at one of the hardest road courses in the game.
Very well said. Again, both Rick James and Word Burton, thank you very much for all the help. Phenomenal race, phenomenal broadcast. I wouldn't expect anything less than both of you in your professional manner throughout the entire way. Well, guys, we're going to call out two more very quick names, and then maybe share a little bit of love. Frydog said that Asbel is over at Pocono, I believe, on iRacing. If he's streaming, maybe we'll send y'all his way, or maybe we'll find another. But first off, this guy is a friend of the driver of the one car here in the Cup Series. The driver of the one NNR God Power, or GP, his buddy Ferret Man. Ferret, I will try to reach out to you here either tonight or tomorrow, but you've got a choice of an Amazon.com gift card or a NASCAR.com gift card, both valued at $10, or a signed Dave Bray USA CD. And then finally, old Fatless Dig, thank you very much for your consummate support for my channel as well. Looking up your information, buddy, 7 months in a row you've subbed to my channel. I couldn't appreciate you more, just like old Krabby Soup as our first winner. So that's going to lock it down for tonight. So Fatless, Silent, Asbel, Ferretman, Bowling, Cape, and Vols, thank you very, very much for all your support. Whether it's on Twitter, on Facebook, helping me get all this out there. I absolutely appreciate your Rock NASCAR. your help and your good deeds do not go unnoticed as well. I will talk to all of you again very, very soon. Again, don't forget, I will not be here next week. I've got a week of vacation, taking my wife away for our anniversary, and but I will be back following week, just before we got another week off for Thanksgiving. So again, I'm Rick James 36 on both Twitch and Twitter. Give him a follow. He'll absolutely appreciate it. He's going to be the man to watch next week when everybody goes to the Roval. Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, avoid those big old crowds, and we'll see you pretty soon. Have a good night.